In my lifelong search for contentment, I've learned that it doesn't come from anything external to us, but from within. In this Golden Cover series, I document some of the insights I've gained that might help lead you to a little more peace of mind. Meditations 1. Reason's greatest purpose is to perpetuate love when it isn't felt. 2. One real relationship is worth more than 1,000 disingenuous ones. Your time is limited. Put it toward those which matter. 3. Stop noting what you do right as a means of excusing future indulgence. 4. You most often measure against what is, and it is better to train your references toward what could be. Thinking about the optimal way something can be said leads to right words, and thinking about the best way life can be lived leads to right action. 5. What is the sound of the voice in your head? If it doesn't have any actual sound, what is its nature? Like all mental constructs, it is amorphous and indiscernible. Observe the true essence of your conceptions, and it will be easier to let go of those which impede happiness, such as preference. 6. Attachment is an impediment to action. If you attach yourself to things, you are more likely to spend time protecting them than using them. If you attach yourself to staying alive, you will not explore life because of a fear of dying. If you attach yourself to another person, you will prevent them from living because of the fear that they may die. 7. Better to know how to be content than to know everything but that. 8. Routine is the fast track to accomplishment, but it is also the death of spontaneity. Attain variety by restricting the accomplishments you desire to those which result from spontaneity. 9. What you can't handle takes you in death. If you're alive, you've been given something to bear. 10. Appropriate action for the present is the solvent for all insoluble plans. 11. If you push the world toward an optimal morality, you will lose place with the people for whom your morality exists. With such limited range, one may only inspire the world to do good through a chain reaction. Since no one can be perfect, just as your conception of morality cannot be perfect, direct your efforts toward a love balanced by non-interference. Be quiet when social, ready when called upon, and alive with the people. 12. How seriously you live is partly contingent upon how much life you live. 13. If you desire that anything happen as you will, and not as it will, you are bound in shackles to your mind. And if you desire that death not come when it wills, you are never truly free. If you are only unwilling to die, you can be made an evil slave to any force that can take your life. Therefore, be made free by relinquishing yourself to the universal will, and spend your time discerning what that is, that you might not be caught doing evil when it was instead time to die. 14. Without believing you control your thoughts, thoughts cannot be within your control. If you believe you can control your thoughts, control over them can be exercised. At the height of control over your thoughts lies the greatest indoctrination. May you never speak the truth of what control you might be predisposed to lack, or the truth of what control you might be incapable. Invalidate the lie by lying to yourself. 15. More enlightened than a sage with years of practice is a child with fewer years of conditioning. 16. If your ambition is tranquility, what you do is not important, but how you interpret what you do. 17. Safety isn't happiness. Happiness is found on the border of safety and danger, where acceptance of change serves as the passport to true experience. 18. Giving way to anger sets the precedent for future action. Like an addiction, it's easier to relapse the more often we give in. This is the result of your reference point. The longer you stay away, the worse it sounds to relapse. And yet, The present is all that's ever truly there. 19. Dismissal only comes after we assign form to something. 20. Beauty is most often found in the novelty of something. It is an impression which flees only once you become accustomed to it. 21. You find relief from the fear of death in the moments your attention is hijacked by one of life's pleasures. You meditate that you might kill your ego and gain respite from the interminable nagging of narrative thought. You're eager to go to sleep so you can shut down this contraption of desire succeeded by dissatisfaction. Dying is fine. Living is fine. Everything is interpretation. 22. What's a relationship with someone who won't struggle for your well-being? At its best, sleep you didn't need. 23. You say to yourself, I want, I like, I hate. But in criticism you say, you are mean, you are afraid. If you would identify with something, identify with the bad. Don't identify with the desire. This is the means to diluting desire and identifying error. But if at all possible, discard the pronoun I entirely. 24. Statistical safety is logistical tyranny. 25. If you're incapable of truly knowing another's experience, what other truths are found only in experience? 26. Your universe could be configured in such a way that the act of consumption only led to the progress and longevity of an entity. It's of some special significance, then, that as an organism's consumption increases, so does the oxidative stress which will lead to its eventual death. This same paradigm is present in humanity's consumption of Earth's resources. If you can let go of desire, says the universe, I will grant you more time. 27. If you wish to react out of virtue, indifference toward others' interpretation of your response will lead to a better reaction. 28. Your thoughts are a product of what you take into your mind. Therefore, you can only think the thoughts found in alone time if you spend time alone. 29. If you wish to appreciate your left hand, go without using it. If you wish to appreciate the world, try finding the self in its absence. When the entire world is taken from you, what are you? Everything and nothing. 30. Treat others the way you want to be treated. There are masochists, and desire is fleeting. Instead, treat others with love. 31. If there were a way to train yourself to see how long you could make a moment last, how would you do it? As a child, your sense of time was shorter, since your life was such a small fraction of what it is now. If you could mentally escape all reference, you would be left with an infinity. 32. If you're denied a better mood by your interpretation of something, perspective keeps you from tranquility since you assign meaning. But if you were ignorant of all comparison, there would be nothing from which to derive your negative interpretation. Therefore, if you can only stop comparing, you don't need a mind capable of unconventional interpretations. 33. Who is capable of seeing every effect of a single conversation? If your aim is to make the world better, you seek to make it according to interpretation, paving the road to hell with good intentions. Only relinquishing control will bring forth the goodness you seek. 34. No battle against ego can be won. It must be starved out of its stronghold. 35. No matter how rational you are, you're not motivated without feelings. 36. We all die alone. Is this said because the dying are incapable of bringing someone with them through that experience? But we are all relegated to our own consciousness, and nothing is truly experienced together. You are all alone all the time, and anything else is the manufacturing of illusion. 37. In order for something to be serious, it must have meaning. If we decide life's meaning, we can decide its seriousness. 38. This distinction between ego and inner witness is creating a great judge against yourself. Who is this but ego donning a new cloak? 39. Change is coming at the cost of comfort, but when isn't it? If change isn't intrinsic to our role as humans, we were born into the wrong quantum soup. If it is, you've been in need of change since the moment of conception, and you're chasing the wrong desires. Still, one shouldn't desire change as much as for everything to happen as it actually does happen, would you will your mind over to contentment. 40. How often are you interpreting the character of someone without deeper investigation? Do you dare to wear no sort of mask? Then why go on as if it were some mystery to you that nearly every walk of life has surprised you, from the uneducated educating, to the needy giving, to the otherwise normal people expressing interest in something so abnormal? I see a mind intent on categorizing and giving the world form to create the illusion of control. 41. Adversity measured under greater adversity takes on new form. Why let externals shape your interpretation? It is within you. 42. You can't truly control your thoughts. You can be dragged along by them, witness them, shift your attention, or alter external stimuli to manifest thoughts of another kind. 43. You fear death, but believe the self is illusory? It's not you that's going to die. 44. Make your words plain. That is the form truth most often takes. 45. If you wish to free your mind of unnecessary judgment, stop seeing yourself in everyone and start seeing everyone in yourself. 46. The wise ask, what is the full range of opinions on this? Am I pursuing the best interpretation? The sage asks, for what reason do I believe I need an opinion? 47. How differently your world would be shaped without your belief that there's evil. Is a star's consumption of the elements evil? Like you, that star will die. What would happen if only one thing went on consuming forever? You must be consumed and made new. Has someone brought you to consumption prematurely? All actions can be traced back to a cause. They were not free. Moral judgments do not exist without a judge, but the universe exists. Exist as your universe does, without such impressions. 48. Because the past and future don't belong to you, go beyond simply being present in the moment and reflect on individual memories as individual moments, without attachment to the way you wish things turned out. 49. Interacting with people you'd rather avoid is an opportunity to take note of the traits you should avoid developing. 50. Action can prevent bad things from happening, but nothing can be caused by inaction. So why do you dread remaining still in motion and thought? Is there something bad you're trying to prevent? If it is not external to you, stillness is likely required to solve it. 51. Beyond that which is physically forced on you, everything is self-imposed. Even living is a choice. 52. As a child, you wanted the strength and responsibility of an adult. As an adult, you want the youth and unaccountability of a child. While you can strip yourself of convention, as would be the nature of a child, the rest is interpretation. Be happy for the good of the moment. Our capacity to think about a thing is no indication of that thought's utility. 53. If life is what our thoughts make it, then find a good and happy life in repetition, not in mindless physical tasks, but in repeatedly reflecting on the things which make you happy and the good you need to do. 54. If you want to hear your true inner voice, turn off the noise of everything else. 55. Why is it always, I think, I like, I love, I hate? Stop. Return to the present. Where is the I? 56. You need to need no one if you are to be needed. 57. What should I do today shares an answer with the question, what do I want to put off doing? 58. Without intrinsic meaning, the wise can pass no judgment on the place meaning is found. An expedition holds the same value as a lonely game of solitaire, provided that the player places an equivalent amount on it. Instead, the wise concern themselves with their own desires, those they should let go of, and those in which they find their own meaning worth pursuing. 59. The instant your reputation is a factor in what you do is the moment it loses all its worth. 60. Imagine a world which is only good. To you the distinction exists. Is good what it is to the inhabitants who know no evil? So, why are you disturbed by anything, good or bad? If you cannot know one without the other, welcome all things to come. Death will remove the impression of any contrast soon enough. 61. If you're continually fed, watered, and given the proper amount of sun, you could plant yourself in a single location to live out the rest of your days. With perfect form meditation, you could spend those in a state of thoughtless awareness. You could live out your days as a tree. Your distinction from plant life is not that you are condemned to a busier existence, but that you have the selection of additions. It's not your current state from which you should subtract and minimize, but the state of a tree to which you add only what's essential. 62. Virtue is your concern. Those who would distance themselves because of what you concern yourself with will be replaced by another and another, until your palette of relationships is refined to your aim. So long as you go on living the good and social life, this process runs in sync with the nature of your universe. Change. Here, change as the obstacle has become the way. 63. You are water. Each moment is the path you travel, a stream of humanly inalterable time, with highs and lows, rapids and calm, each owing the other its existence. Without each extreme's counterpart, what would it be? There would be no such description, just as there exists no description for anything else that is nothing to us. And yet, water needs no opinion. It simply takes what shape it must to flow.